Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of Smashified. I am Omni, and I am joined, as always, by Chris.
Hello.
And today we have a special guest on the episode. He is an esteemed Let's Player, well known for his highly informative commentary, I think, as well as your love of puns. And you're also the co-host, one of three co-hosts for the Runaway Guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chuggaaconroy. How's it going?
Hey.
Hey everybody, and thank you.
And I'm just going to call you Emil for this episode, so just so you guys know. So this episode is for the character we codenamed Memory, and that character is none other than the masked man from Mother 3. So we thought it would be a good idea to do something to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Mother 3, which is, if everything works out, should be the day this actually gets posted on YouTube. So hopefully that's actually the case.
Give or take.
Yeah. Also, quick disclaimer, I stayed up till like 10 a.m. and then slept for like maybe 3 hours. So if I'm really loopy, that's why.
Yes. So we'll try to not have an Omni talk as much. Also, quick disclaimer, we're going to possibly be mentioning some spoilers for the game. We're going to try to avoid them, but if you haven't played Mother 3, you should go check out Chuggaaconroy's really old but still awesome Let's Play of the game.
Yeah. Please don't. Those old videos are very...
Come on.
Okay. Everyone cringes at their older work. I'm sure you guys do it too.
Oh yeah, certainly.
All the time.
Worst critic is yourself.
Oh yeah.
But you played Mother 3 way back in like 2011, I want to say?
2009.
Okay, 9. Okay.
At least that was when I completed.
Gotcha. And that was like after you played both Mother 1 and Earthbound as well, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so needless to say, you're probably really well acquainted with the Mother franchise as a whole.
Yeah. And on that note, it's so hard to get used to calling it Earthbound Beginnings now.
Oh yeah, true. I don't even think about that.
I prefer Earthbound Zero. It just sounds nice. It rolls off the tongue, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you know this, Emil, but we are actually, and we did it previously, we did Travis from Mother 4, and we're actually pretty close with the Mother 4 team. We talk to them all the time. I didn't know, did you plan on ever doing a Let's Play of Mother 4 when that would come out in the future?
It's not really something I've thought about, mainly because it is unofficial. It's one of those things where it's like I would very much have to play it first and like decide if I like it or not. That is what I do with any game, though, but in the case of it being a fan creation, I feel like it'd be especially true here. Not that I don't think it'll be good or anything, it's just one of those things of I would need to play it first to really gauge if I would want to do that.
Yeah. Sure. Have you done any fan games on your channel at all, or is it all official releases?
All official releases, actually. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. What do you guys think of the possibility of getting Mother 3 here in the West finally after how many years has it been since it released? Almost 10, obviously. We should
10. Yeah. It'll be 10 on this day that this video goes up.
Yeah,
sure.
Man, I really hope, because we're recording this like almost 2 weeks before the video actually goes up. So who knows?
So
what
who
news
knows what news could be announced?
Yeah. Hopefully we're not too outdated. But I'm looking forward to it. Maybe they'll announce it at E3 rather than on the anniversary if they do it. And there's been rumors floating around that they might actually finally release it. I don't know how much that holds water. Do you think those are true rumors?
There's been too much teasing for there to not be something going on. It's like they mention it in interviews, they mention it during their events, they do all kinds of things like that. Like, I remember I felt like I was in some kind of bizarro dream world E3 a few years back where they had that gag of, "Come on, Reggie, give us Mother 3."
Yeah.
When they did that gag, I felt like I had to have been like dreaming or something. I'm like pinching myself. I'm like, did they really just acknowledge it?
Yeah. And then to disappoint people even further, they didn't actually make any announcements about that game. They just made fun of the fact that it hasn't been released.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Maybe it'll happen.
It's so lovely just seeing Earthbound getting like any acknowledgement like outside of Japan. It's so funny like seeing kids of today that are fans of Earthbound and being all like, yeah, we got 1 and 2, but not 3, and you know they get like all upset over that. I'm just like, guys, when I was your age, on a good day, Nintendo would just simply acknowledge the fact that the series exists in an offhand comment. Like, that's the best we would get, is them doing some offhand comment acknowledging the existence of the series. On a typical day, they would pretend like it was never released in America.
Yeah. And actually, recently, it's actually been a treat that Earthbound as a franchise is getting as much attention as it is now. Like, the release of Mother 1 was a huge deal because of that. And now that people are talking about it a lot, and now that so many like new games that are inspired by the Mother franchise, like Undertale. We've got Y2K coming out soon. Mother 4,
Citizens of
obviously.
Earth.
Yeah, so a lot of people have been influenced by this game, and it's kind of crazy that I don't know whatever factors went into not releasing it in the West. Maybe it was just too late in the GBA's life cycle, but they just never released it, and so I really hope they do a virtual console release.
Well, I remember them saying what a big deal it was to get a toy back into the studio just to talk about getting a northern release of Earthbound Beginnings. You know, that was such a big deal to them. It took a lot of effort.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, but I guess he would have to be somewhat involved in localization, maybe? I don't know.
Well, Earthbound Beginnings wasn't localized in this day and age. It was a prototype of an English version they had planned to release back in 1990, but just never did. The late in the Game Boy Advance lifespan, I think, was what hurt this game, though, because Game Boy Advance was still going pretty big in Japan around the time that Mother 3 came out over there, but as it stood, it had come out about a year and a half after the DS in North America. Game Boy Advance was just no longer selling over here. And a game like Mother 3 would have a super lengthy localization process that could possibly take up to a year from the beginning of localization to launching an actual product. And by 2007, if Game Boy Advance wasn't already selling in 2006, they probably wouldn't want to pour in that much money into a localization process if it was just going to be that big.
Yeah, that makes sense, because that's when the DS was already out for a good bit, and the Wii was also coming out soon, so they were focused on other things.
Yeah, it wasn't like where their focuses lie right then and there, even if they did know that there was demand for it back then. It was just one of those things that didn't make economical sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Well, fingers crossed. Hopefully, all the rumors are true, because there's been some.
It's such a good game too. Like, for me personally, gameplay style. It's the best of this series. I think Earthbound for me personally has been more iconic, but Mother 3 is just so fun to play and pick up and go back to and revisit the story. You know, there's so many good qualities to the game. It's a shame that we don't see it in the US.
Well, that's one of the things that makes it interesting, because Mother 1 and 2 are very similar in tone. Like, I almost feel like Mother 2 or Earthbound was sort of like a second attempt at the type of story they were trying to tell with the first game. I don't know if that's actually true, because I've never played Mother 1, but tonally it seems very similar. While Mother 3, it's a lot more like a focus on a small town character rather than these big cities. So I feel like that has a lot of impact as well.
To be fair, a lot of sequels from NES to Super Nintendo back then were just make the same game, only better.
Yeah,
you saw that
true.
in Link to the Past. You saw that in Super Mario World.
Yeah. And then SNES and N64, you've got games like Star Fox, which is getting remade basically again. So we'll see how that game turns out.
On the note of the footage, though, just like glove textures, I couldn't even imagine like what it would be like to make something like this in a 2D space.
Yeah, this is actually my first attempt at doing any sort of texture map, as well as modeling. So, as well as sculpting.
You did a pretty good job, though.
So, this was a really crazy process, like a trial by fire for me. But through necessity, I guess that's sometimes how you learn fastest, is being forced to do something.
This is my first attempt at 3D modeling, he says. My first attempt, guys.
I only did the helmet modeling and then the jacket sculpting, which I think hasn't shown yet. So, but yeah, it's been fun. I really like this character a lot, and we actually tried to. Well, not. I guess we didn't try to finish it, but we started way back in May to do a version of this character, and then we just stopped because we were focusing on other characters. But then we picked it up almost a year later, and it looks a lot different from the first iteration we tried. I don't know if we'll release an image of that, maybe on Patreon, but there's a lot of interpretations of this character visually because this is tiny sprite. That's all you have to base it on. It's like the battle sprite and then the overworld sprite, which is like maybe 32 pixels tall. Mm-hmm. So trying to extrapolate a visual design like for the helmet is really difficult. Hopefully we stayed true to the character, but how do you feel about that interpretation so far from what you've seen?
I remember that you and I were talking about that a lot, just how much of this character is open to interpretation, and just anything that's like sprite-based like this, you can take so many creative liberties and still have it look accurate to what it originally was.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that can be done, a lot of directions that can be taken, and it's just one person's interpretation can be radically different from someone else's.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually a little bit surprised when we started talking about it, because I wasn't sure how much of an artistic mind you have. I know you do a lot of this. I don't know how much of the graphics you do for your channel, but it's always been a lot higher production value than a lot of other channels out there. So I was hoping that you would have some insight, and you definitely did.
I appreciate the compliments, though, but I cannot take all the credit for that. I always am involved in the design phases and conceptual phases, though, but I do have a designer, Stephen George. He's also in the Earthbound community. If you've ever heard of him, he does fantastic stuff. I'd say that he's definitely a lot more professional in the way he designs than I am, and I always work with him on mine.
Gotcha. That's cool.
We also haven't mentioned, too, that this... so you said that we started him almost a year ago now, and in that time, we haven't done any other characters other than Travis from Mother 4. So we got a lot of suggestions or requests to do more Mother characters, and of course, Masked Man was the first one that popped up in terms of popularity, but we also haven't... And I'm going to announce it right now. We're doing a whole slate of Mother characters for both Smashified and Smashified trophies that'll be coming up throughout this next month. We're calling it Mother's Month, so the end of April towards the end of May is just going to be a slew of amazing characters from that great series.
Would it happen to be influenced by Mother's Day?
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly that. There you go. Puns. Does that count as a pun? I guess that's just wordplay, but... Yeah, no, that's definitely the plan, is to celebrate first the anniversary, and then the subsequent month will be also more Mother characters. So hopefully you guys don't get burned out on all of the Earthbound / Mother stuff, but hopefully it's worth it, because I know there's so many people who love the franchise, and I really want to pay respect
ourselves
to the
included.
franchise. Yeah.
It's like everyone loves Earthbound, even if you think you don't. No, you do.
Yeah. Basically, the people who don't like it are the ones who haven't played it yet.
All this talk of Mother, though, it's reminding me of Sakurai's comment all the way back on the Brawl Dojo website, where it was like, question, why does this item say Mother in big letters on the front of it? Answer, is there anything wrong with it saying Mother in big letters on front of it?
Yeah, actually, when I was growing up playing Melee, I always wondered why the Earthbound music was titled like Mother and Mother 2 theme. And it's like, what does that have to do with Earthbound? Because I only knew the name Earthbound back then. Mm-hmm. But now it makes sense. It all makes sense. Silly 10-year-old me not knowing how localization works.
I feel like Smash was a great introduction to the franchise too. So many people learned about it through Smash, and what a good way to get into it. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. It was just lucky that a lot of the same people were involved in the production of both games, so it led to them wanting to include Ness.
Yeah, Earthbound wouldn't be the force of nature that it is if it wasn't for Smash, and that HAL Lab, as much as I give them flack for making lackluster games in modern days, in my opinion, they're not as good as it used to be, but they made some really influential games back in the day.
Emil,
coming up on the end of the process here.
Emil, what's your favorite Mother game? What's your favorite?
I have to say Earthbound. I really do. Like, I know that Mother 3 is objectively better in a lot of ways, and it might be a more fun game to a lot of people, and also faster paced, but I don't know. It's just, Earthbound is one game that I have played through easily 30 times, and I still learn new things about it every time I play it. Even today with the new 3DS version, I have learned new things about the game in that playthrough. And I can't say that that is true for many games. It is easily one of the most replayable games I think I have ever seen.
Boom. And here's Masked Man.
Oh man, those textures were so fun to make.
That aiming laser on the arm cannon.
Yes.
It's just a great character design all around. Boom.
All right. Well, thank you, Chugga or Emil, for joining us on this episode of Smashified. It's a huge honor for me because I've been watching your videos for quite a while, so it's really a neat opportunity to be able to have you on with us.
Oh well, thank you so much. I gotta say, your hairstyle is awesome. I've had to compliment that for a long time. Like, I've always wanted to say it. But
I'm so glad you think so.
You should see it in person.
But Omni's hair and the Smash 4 logo separated at birth?
Yeah. No, I want to do something with that logo, that older Smashified logo that I did with the fire head. That was one of my favorite things that I've ever done. But if you guys are watching right now, make sure you check out all their other characters and do any of the other stuff that you see here on this end slate. It's pretty all straightforward. And if you're interested in supporting us, feel free to become a patron. No pressure, but it'll help us get to some of our other goals. So other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.